Blue eyes are only found in 8 to 10% of the world's population, yet this number rises to 30 to 40% in Europe and even over 80% in parts of Northern Europe. So in this video we're going to look at the origin and evolution of blue eyes and why they are so common in Europe. At the end of this video as well, we will also look at why blue eyes are so much more common in Northern Europe than in the south of the continent. Now look at this map. It shows the countries with the most amount of people with light eyes in Europe, mainly blue. Estonia and Finland have the highest levels of blue eyes in the world at a massive 89%. Sweden is third at 78%, with Iceland fourth at 75%. But what is the origin of this eye colour and how did they evolve in Europe? Well, it's initially thought that all human beings had brown eyes initially, before a single genetic mutation arose. This was in the HER2/OCA2 genetic region, which reduced melanin production, leading to blue eyes. But when did this mutation first arise? Well, they're very old in Europe. A really interesting study was published in 2014 in Nature that looked at the DNA of an ancient hunter-gatherer from Iberia. He was a man who lived around 7,000 years ago in northwestern Spain and is known as Labranja 1. What eye colour did he have though? Well, we know he had this mutation in the HER2/OCA2 region that is strongly linked to blue eyes. The particular mutation is RS129-13832, a single nucleotide polymorphism, or SNP, in this HER2/OCA2 region. In other words, he most likely had blue eyes or blue-green eyes. But is he the earliest example of this? Well, a study from 2008 that you often see quoted online estimated that this genetic mutation took place around 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, perhaps around the Black Sea region. We know that another ancient hunter-gatherer also had this mutation in the HER2/OCA2 region who lived around 10,000 years ago. This was Cheddar Man, a western hunter-gatherer from ancient England. However, this mutation seems to be older than 10,000 years ago. A 2016 study published in Nature, for instance, found this genetic mutation in people from the Caucasus in Italy who lived around 13,000 to 14,000 years ago. Others argue that blue eyes could be around 42,000 years old, and the truth is perhaps somewhere in between. And for those wondering if we inherited blue eyes from Neanderthals, the specific HER2/OCA2 mutation that causes blue eyes in modern humans is absent from Neanderthal genomes. So although we can't pinpoint exactly when this mutation occurred, we know that Labranja 1 and Cheddar Man were not isolated cases. Blue or blue-green eyes were very common amongst Western hunter-gatherers. This leads to the obvious question though, why did this mutation arise in the first place? Well, initially it was thought to just be a random genetic mutation. Perhaps a better question is to wonder why it persisted and grew over time, from its origin to our modern world, where between 656 to 820 million people have blue eyes, or 8 to 10% of the global population. Well, there are numerous theories out there, and I go through many of them in a previous video. Arguments include random genetic factors, such as founder effects and genetic drift. Other arguments are more causal. These include climate and sexual attractiveness, which could have acted as selective pressures. Personally, I think it's probably a combination of many or all of these factors, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below and if you have blue eyes. And if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. But now let's look to see how different migrations and invasions, different peoples over time, have changed the frequency of blue eyes on the continent. As although obviously Western hunter-gatherers, as we just went through, had quite high levels of blue eyes or blue-green eyes, lighter eyes were quite common amongst them, later populations, later peoples, didn't have the same frequencies of blue eyes. Now for reference, the foundational genetics of most Europeans is basically made up of three main sources: hunter-gatherers that we've previously covered, and then early European farmers, and then steppe ancestry during the Bronze Age. But how did these later migrations, early farmers and steppe ancestry, change the frequency of blue eyes in Europe? Well, early European farmers swept across the continent from Anatolia beginning around 7000 BC, and we know that they mostly had brown eyes. They look something like this woman in this photo. Their arrival thus diluted the frequency of blue eyes in Europe overall, although their impact was greater in certain regions. Now I should note that after these early farmers arrived, there was a resurgence of hunter-gatherer ancestry in many parts of Europe, and this has been documented in various studies. This took place especially between around 4500 and 3000 BC, and it likely increased the frequency of blue eyes in certain areas. But what about steppe ancestry then? Well, the Yamnaya began migrating from the Pontic-Caspian steppe beginning around 3000 BC. Although they contributed significantly to European ancestry, they did not have high levels of blue eyes, even though many people previously thought this was the case. What is interesting though, is that cultures connected to the Yamnaya, but who also had significant ancestry from the previous populations of Europe, i.e. this mixture of hunter-gatherer and early farmer DNA, had higher levels of blue eyes than the Yamnaya. The Bell-Beaker and Corded Ware cultures are notable examples of this. They showed increased frequencies of blue and light eyes in general due to their mixed ancestry, which helped to re-establish and expand blue eye frequencies, especially in Central and Northern Europe. Now, various other factors influenced the level of blue eyes in different parts of Europe between then and now. Founder effects, genetic drift, sexual selection, climate, and further genetic admixture all could have influenced the frequencies of blue eyes across the continent. Later historical events such as the Viking period also could have played a role in blue eye genes being spread to different regions, as we know they had high levels of blue eyes that I covered in a previous video. But now let's look at why there are such divergent levels of blue eyes in the north of the continent versus southern Europe. Now look at this table. It shows the frequencies of blue eyes in different countries of Europe, with northern European countries at the top, such as Estonia, Finland and Sweden at 78 to 89%, and southern European countries at the bottom, such as Portugal, Greece and southern Italy at only 10 to 15%. But why is this? Well, one argument is that northern Europeans have more Mesolithic hunter-gatherer ancestry, while southern Europeans have more Neolithic Near Eastern ancestry. In this 2014 study, for example, of the Labrona individual, they compared his DNA to modern Europeans, and they actually found his ancestry was closest to northern Europeans, i.e. samples from Sweden and Finland, even though he was from ancient Spain. So this higher level of hunter-gatherer ancestry in northern Europeans may be one reason. There are other potential reasons though. One is later genetic admixture, as many parts of southern Europe had contact with North African or Middle Eastern ancestry. Iberia is the prime example of this obviously, through the Al-Andalus period of Muslim rule between 711 and 1492 AD. Iberia wasn't alone however. Sicily and southern Italy experienced periods of Muslim rule during the Aghlabid and Fatimid caliphates, for example. The Balkans was also part of the Ottoman Empire as well for large periods. Northern Europe, on the other hand, didn't experience this sort of admixture in any real way and remained more isolated. This could have allowed phenomena like founder effects and genetic drift to increase levels of blue eyes. Another argument is climate. Now, anyone who's seen any of my previous videos on this topic will know I think climate probably played some role as the selective pressure for blue eyes becoming more common in Northern Europe. I don't think it's coincidental that blue eyes are most common in places that have extremely dark winters. Now, we know that lighter eyes are more sensitive to light in general. This would have helped not only from a health perspective, like coping with seasonal affective disorder, with some research finding lower levels of this condition in people with blue eyes, but also from a practical perspective. A 2024 paper, for example, found that blue-eyed individuals were identified to have significantly better ability to see in lower lighting conditions after a short adaptation period than brown-eyed individuals, making it likely depigmented irises provide an adaptive advantage. This could have helped for hunting, foraging, and even for defence. Now, some of you may be saying that if climate is a factor in blue eyes developing, why don't Inuit and other peoples of the Arctic have blue eyes? Well, look at this photo. This is an Inuit man wearing snow goggles. They are a type of eyewear traditionally used by the Inuit and other Yupik peoples of the Arctic to prevent snow blindness, a condition caused by overexposure to ultraviolet light reflected off snow and ice. So the environment of the Arctic isn't actually well suited for sensitive eyes like blue. Another reason is probably due to ancestry as well. Inuit groups have good levels of East Asian ancestry, and we know that over 99% of East Asians have brown eyes. So a combination of ancestry and climate explains why peoples of the Arctic usually have brown eyes, and this combination also largely explains why people of Northern and Southern Europe have such divergent rates of blue eyes. But what do you think? Please let me know in the comments below and what your eye colour is in general. Now, what does your eye colour say about your ancestry? Well, to find out, please click here. Thanks for watching, please let me know your thoughts below, and please subscribe and hit the bell, and tell your friends and family about this channel. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.